Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Nigeria's secret police, the Department of State Services, says it has arrested a suspected Boko Haram member, Sanusi Bello, at the outskirts of Wudil town, Wudil local government area in Kano State. A statement signed by DSS spokesperson Tony Opuyo said the suspect was arrested with multiple identity cards, including those of a police constable and neighborhood vigilante member. He is believed to be carrying out surveillance activities for the terrorists in the area. The DSS also revealed it has arrested some suspected kidnappers and armed robbers operating along the Lokoja, Okene, and Abuja Cardinal highways. One of those arrested is Lawal Mohammed, a suspected financier and armorer of the Babs Bule kidnap gang operating in Kogi State. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked for a reversal of the tenure extension granted to the National Working Committee of his ruling All Progressives Congress APC. President Buhari made the demand at the National Executive Committee meeting of the party in Abuja. He told members of the NEC to consider cancelling the tenure extension decision because it is against the party constitution and the Nigerian constitution. Buhari said he is having a change of heart because he doesn't want the party's activities to be thwarted by any court of law. The NWC is the executive arm of the party responsible for its day-to-day operations. It is headed by the national chairman, John Odige Oyegun. The decision to extend the tenure was taken at the last meeting on February 28, 2018.
I have taken some time to review and seek advice on the resolution, and what I found is that it contravenes both our party constitution and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While the APC Constitution in Article 17 in bracket 1 and 13.2 bracket B limits the tenure of elected officers to 4 years, renewable once by another election. The 1999 Constitution of Nigeria is amended in section 223, also prescribes periodic elections for party executives at regular intervals, which must not exceed 4 years. Furthermore, Article 31 of our party's constitution provides that any principal officer wishing to recontest or contest for another post must resign from his current post at least 1 month before the election. In this circumstance, what is expected of us is to conduct fresh elections once the tenure of the current executives approaches its end. A caretaker committee cannot remedy the situation and cannot validly act in place of elected officers.
A federal high court in Abuja has fixed April 25th for the ruling on an application to stop the National Assembly from amending the Electoral Act. The Judge Justice Ahmed Mohammed gave the ruling after both parties in the suit filed by the Accord Party adopted their written addresses. The Accord Party is challenging the constitutionality of the amendment to the Electoral Act. After adopting his written address, Counsel to Accord Party Wole Olanikbekun asked the court to stop the move being made by the National Assembly to alter the 2019 general election sequence. But the counsel to the National Assembly, Joseph Daudu, asked the court to dismiss the suit, arguing that the jurisdiction of the court can only be invoked when the bill has become an act. The judge, after listening to both parties, fixed April 25th for judgment on the case.
What we have just argued is whether a bill in the National Assembly can be subjected to the powers of the court. Our position is that a bill is not right until it turns to an act. They are saying the other way around. So simply, in a nutshell, that's what we argue.
Meanwhile, despite the court judgment, the Nigerian Senate has reintroduced the Electoral Amendment Act bill for reading. The bill was reintroduced during plenary on Tuesday, though it is yet to be debated on. The senators had threatened to veto President Muhammadu Buhari's earlier rejection of the bill, and it is believed that the reintroduction is one of the first steps to carry out their threat. The senators are expected to debate on the bill at the next sitting on Wednesday. Still on electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has revealed that a total of 6,906,411 Nigerians have been successfully registered in the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise. Chairman of INEC Yakubu Mohammed stated this at a forum in Abuja on Tuesday. The INEC boss also assured that the 2019 general elections would be credible.
As we speak today, 6,906,411 Nigerians would not have had the opportunity to register. We have, as of today, registered 7 million Nigerians. The exact figure is 6,906,411 over 4 quarters. We started in the second quarter of 2017 in April, and then we had 3 quarters in 2017. In 2017, we registered 3,981,502 citizens. But interestingly, in the first quarter of this year alone, from January to last week, March, when we ended the first quarter registration, additional 2,924,909 Nigerians were registered, making a total of almost 7 million Nigerians.
It was a very tough session at the public hearing on the new land use charge law at the Lagos State House of Assembly on Tuesday, as residents of the city and several groups converged to make their submission on the controversial new law. The atmosphere was charged. The hearing comes weeks after the NBA and various civil society groups held a protest march against the new law. The vast majority of residents are opposed to the law. Our crew was at the public hearing and now files this report.
If you were looking for any evidence as to how important the new land use charge law is to residents of Lagos, then this is it. Never has any public hearing on a law attracted this size of crowd at the Lagos State House of Assembly. The main plenary chamber of the Assembly was packed full. Among the crowd, various civil society organizations and professional bodies as well as residents.
We have to look inward and do what we can do to make sure we move Lagos forward. We can't do it alone without you people. Fine, what we have presented might be, outrageous, exorbitant, but let us come home and think what will be acceptable. Our governor has been doing tremendously well. We know this. There is hardly any local government where we are from that we cannot feel the impact of this administration. But they don't come cheap and they are not free. The only way to continue this project is to generate revenue.
With the Speaker of the House done with his speech, the floor was open for the various groups and residents to begin making their submissions. First to take the floor, the Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Ikeja Branch.
We request the adjournment of the public hearing for no less than 2 weeks hence, that is the period between the 10th to 15th April 2018, to allow stakeholders adequacy of quantitative and comparative study of the proposed amendment, as well as qualitative and comprehensive submissions via the memoranda. Pressing forward tomorrow, that is today, as scheduled, appears in our respective view, characterized with undue haste and needless hurry, and which will be counterproductive in the end.
However, there was a mild drama as members of the NBA and other various civil society groups left the hearing angrily following a remark by the other committee chairman, Bayo Oshinowo, directed at the NBA chairman.
We are only asking for adjournment. Unfortunately, the chairman of that committee, land use charge, review something, Bayo Oshinowo, you could see how insouciant, how arrogant he is. How could he even be questioning my bona fides as a legal practitioner? He said quite loosely, he said, I guess you are a lawyer, patronizingly. Of course, I won't accept that. But more fortunate is the Honorable Speaker, who is our friend, who is our colleague, a fine gentleman, his own submission was that it doesn't matter, that the law is not in circulation, it doesn't matter because already all of us were cognizant of the issues at stake.
You can make a law. Once those laws are not acceptable to the people, they cannot be obeyed.
Yes.
Any land use charge, we are going to mobilize Lagosians.
Yes.
Must be resisted.
Yes.
Every bad law must not be respected.
Yes.
The drama, though, would not deter other stakeholders and residents from having their say.
We believe that if you collect 1,000 from 2 million, it is higher than collecting 1 million from 10 people. Expand that scope, let more people pay rather than this increase. That is one of our beliefs. The implementation of the land use law be suspended forthwith with the gray areas until the gray areas are resolved in the interest of fairness, equity, and natural justice. Lagos State government should revert to the old rate.
I have come to Lagos State, I have brought some directors to Apapa, and they tell me that if you give me a house here for free, I will not leave. Now, we are receiving exorbitant rate, the new land use charge, no problem. Now, what we are saying is this. If Apapa is not motorable, the traffic situation cannot even make you come to Apapa. The property, for example, if it's valued in 2002 at 200 million naira. Now, if you want to give it for 60 million naira, nobody will buy.
What is the bedrock of this law as to necessitate a distinction between the, when you say value, between the capital value, which and the capital value of the property and any other value. But what I'm saying is, the basis of this law, we need to be educated. I don't understand that bit. Are the calculations on value, are they based upon possession or upon ownership of the property? We need to be clear.
If the Lagos State government was looking for a forum to gauge how the residents of the city feel about the controversial law, this forum more than provided enough feedback on what the residents think about the new law.
That is why we are here, with intent to look at those sections and make amendments where necessary. They have made their own contributions. We have listened, we have heard them, and we are going to look into it. We have a committee that will work on it. Definitely, we will get back to the public on what we arrive on.
The Lagos State government had unilaterally announced a 50% reduction in the land use charges following public outcry when the new law was first promulgated. But if the submissions made at the public hearing here are anything to go by, that reduction is far from what the residents want. It therefore remains to be seen how the state lawmakers would navigate through this potentially political banana peel and come up with a decision that the residents would accept.
Lawmakers in Nigeria's National Assembly have requested an extension of the country's 2017 budget to May 31st. This was disclosed by the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations, Mustafa Dawaki, who stated this at a joint public hearing on the document. Dawaki said the lawmakers have written to the Office of the Accountant General to extend the date from March 31st to May 31st, 2018. He, however, assured that the lawmakers were still working to ensure the 2018 budget is passed as scheduled for April 24th. President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated Nigeria's first ever Food Security Council. The council, which will be chaired by the president, includes 6 state governors, the governor of the central bank, the chief of defense staff, and 7 cabinet members. They have been charged with the responsibility of finding solutions which will lead to the development of Nigeria's agricultural sector. The council will also find a solution to the farmers' headache crisis, which has plagued states in the north-central parts of the country.
Since assuming office in 2015, one of the major focus of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is a diversification of the country's economy away from oil. In 2017, the agricultural sector, comprising of crop production, livestock, forestry, and fishing, grew by 10.13%, an increase of 3.68% from 2016. To ensure this growth is sustained, President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated a National Food Security Council. The committee, which will be chaired by the President, is tasked with the responsibility of developing agricultural programs which will sustain the current economic growth.
The journey is long. It is therefore our collective duty to ensure the actual and potential positive impacts of these programs are sustained, improved, and expanded. A key mandate of the Food Security Council is to continuously assess and enhance these infant but impactful programs, thereby guaranteeing they achieve their full potential. We shall also develop new programs and projects that will protect and indeed create more jobs in farming, fisheries, animal husbandry, and forestry.
The Council will also look at other critical issues which affect food production in Nigeria.
We will also not lose sight of the other issues that will impact our food production ambitions, such as population growth, urbanization, industrialization, rural infrastructure development, and climate change. These factors will also stress and stretch our land and water resources. This means we must invest in research and development to enhance yields and outputs. Moreover, we are not insulated from global and regional events. Accordingly, we develop local programs, but not lose sight of events from afar and their impact on us. Specifically, issues such as smuggling and dumping, which is our responsibility to ensure we develop and enforce strategies to protect Nigeria from these illegal and unhealthy imports.
Members of the Council will also include the governors of Kebbi, Taraba, Plateau, Lagos, Ebonyi, and Delta states. They will also focus on climate change, oil spillage, and its impact on Niger Delta fishing communities, piracy and banditry, agricultural research institutions, and extension services, as well as the problem of smuggling. The Council will also take interest in the regional and global policies and trends that bear implications on food security in Nigeria.
The federal government says the People's Democratic Party, PDP, should complete its apology to Nigerians by returning all the funds looted from the public treasury during their 16 years in power. In a statement issued in Abuja on Tuesday, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, also challenged the party to show the genuineness of its apology through an evident change of attitude. The minister said with the paucity of funds, the administration has spent an unprecedented amount of money on infrastructural development and social investment program, among others. He added that returning the looted funds would provide more money for the programs and make life more meaningful for Nigerians. The Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, has warned that security officials of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, will soon receive licenses to carry arms at airports across the country. Sirika made this known while speaking in Katsina at the 2018 Aviation Security Retreat on Monday. He said the development would complement the activities of other security agencies in addressing security challenges at the airports. The minister also noted that the arrangement would be finalized after the officers have gone through the necessary training in line with the International Civil Aviation Organization recommended practices. The World Health Organization and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, have confirmed a decline in the spread of Lassa fever in Nigeria. This report comes after nearly 400 confirmed infections and 119 deaths. They, however, warned that the epidemic is far from contained. Recent data from the NCDC shows that the number of new confirmed and probable cases has been falling for 5 consecutive weeks, indicating that public health measures are proving effective. However, they have warned that more infections are expected until the end of the dry season as viral hemorrhagic fever is endemic to the area.
People to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PPC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website onevoice.ng, onevoice.ng. Please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, oh, my vote no go count now. Try vote first, maybe you see whether it will count, you know.
Glad to have you back. The Nigerian government has suspended the payment of its monthly allocation for the month of March. This was announced by the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, at a press briefing on Wednesday. Idris said the state allocation will not be paid due to irreconcilable differences between Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC).
Let me be quick to tell you that the meeting was inconclusive because some issues around reconciliation of figures are on the table, or were on the table. Obviously, you are aware that anything to do with the federation revenue is statutory and therefore constitutional. And we must always verify our figures to the last kobo, failing which we will be committing an illegality and unconstitutionality. And it is on that note we observe some issues on the figures given by one of the major revenue-generating agencies, namely the NNPC, and the meeting is of the view and opinion that until and unless these figures are reconciled, corrected, verified, and they are factual, we cannot distribute the revenue as the case is.
President Muhammadu Buhari has signed 2 executive orders to boost the recovery of looted assets stashed abroad. The first order is the ratification of the agreement between the Nigerian government and the government of the Republic of Singapore for the avoidance of double taxation and the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect on taxes on income and capital gains. The agreement is also expected to boost Nigeria's trade relations with Singapore, while the second order signed by the President is the ratification of the MOU between the Government of Nigeria and the Swiss Federal Council and the International Development Association on the return, monitoring and management of illegally acquired assets. The order is to aid the return of loots confiscated by Switzerland to Nigeria. Oil rose on Tuesday, holding above $70 a barrel for a third day. The rise was supported by concerns that tensions in the Middle East could lead to supply disruptions, although with global output rising fast, investors remain cautious. Brent crude futures were up 28 cents on the day at $70.40 a barrel, while U.S. crude were up by 19 cents at $65.74 a barrel. The oil price has risen by more than 7% so far this month and by 5.3% in the first 3 months of the year, putting it on track for a third consecutive quarterly gain, something the market has not witnessed since late 2010. Geopolitics and expectation of the world's largest exporters controlling supply have helped push Brent above $70 this year for the second time since late 2014, but analysts say this strength may not persist for long. Sierra Leone's Supreme Court has postponed a hotly contested presidential election runoff by 4 days. The runoff vote is now scheduled for March 31st instead of March 27, the court ruled after receiving a request for postponement from the National Electoral Commission, NEC. The NEC requested the delay after a high court lifted an interim injunction placed on the vote on Monday afternoon, only leaving a few hours for the commission to prepare for the runoff. The High Court had temporarily paused the vote due to fraud claims by a member of the ruling All People's Congress. Egypt began the second of a 3-day presidential election on Tuesday with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi set for an easy victory after authorities urged people to cast their ballots to provide a strong mandate for the former military commander. Sisi faces just one challenger who is expected to barely register against the incumbent whom he supports. Critics have slammed the election as a charade after more serious challengers were forced to step down. Egyptian authorities hope that 3 days of voting will be enough to produce a decent turnout for Sisi. The president still has many supporters, but his austerity measures in recent years and a fierce crackdown on security have eroded some support. Nigeria Super Eagles will complete the first phase of their preparations for the 2018 World Cup with a friendly match against Serbia on Tuesday. The Eagles, who defeated Poland 1-0 last Friday, will play the Serbians in London. Coach Gernot Rohr called for focus after Friday's victory, insisting that the team is yet a finished article. Captain Mikel Obi is still expected to miss Tuesday's game, but Granada Ogenekaro Etebo is expected to return from injury. Egypt-based Junior Ajayi is also expected to make his Eagles debut in the game. Lionel Messi has been ruled out of Argentina's friendly against Spain on Tuesday after failing to recover from injury. The Barcelona forward missed Friday's 2-0 win over Italy in Manchester after feeling discomfort in his hamstring and right adductor, but was expected to feature against La Roja in Madrid. Argentina boss Jorge Sampaoli told the media that his captain was fit and feeling good on Monday's pre-match press conference, saying that the player would tell him if there was any problem, but a slight test on Tuesday afternoon showed he was yet to recover. Football governing body FIFA will announce the host of the 2026 World Cup on June 13. FIFA President Gianni Infantino said this in a statement on Monday. The Swiss also pledged that the voting process will be free and fair, following corruption allegations which marred their awarding of the hosting right to the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. The World Cup, which will be the first tournament involving 48 teams, can be hosted in any continent except Europe. Morocco will be facing a joint bid from the United States, Canada, and Mexico for the hosting rights. Well, that's it on News Now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.